What's up guys, my name is Soulless Baby, and today I want to talk about the Merciless fusion rifle. I have always loved fusion rifles in Destiny. Haven't used them a whole lot in Destiny 2 just because I hadn't found one that I was like super in love with till I found the Loaded Question and Ear and Till and the new Raid fusion rifle and all that kind of good stuff. And I just didn't feel like Merciless as a whole fit too well into the game. Just because you have kilos, Loaded Question, things of that nature that you can throw in that energy slot for PvE. But there's a really in-depth DPS comparison with the Kilo shotgun getting nerfed versus the Merciless and other guns over on Eroar's channel. I'll link that down in the description if I remember. If I don't remember, just somebody yell at me in the comments if you don't mind. But basically, the breakdown on it is it does 11,000 DPS while it's at its maximum fire rate. So that's rivaling what the Kilos can kind of do now. It doesn't really compete with threat level whenever it's got surrounded proc and all that, but surrounded is a little bit difficult to get the proc sometimes on raid bosses and stuff. So this might start being viable for people that don't have the Loaded Question, which is in my opinion your best bet for your energy slot right now in PvE. Huge proprietor of that gun. The explosion on it's ridiculous. The DPS is just dumb. If you're running Scavenger, you're always going to have full ammo. The fact that you can use that with a Rally Barricade or Lunafactions and just slam those impact bullets into them whenever it's got its perk going, where you have the magazine full, it's fantastic. This is not a Loaded Question review, it's a Merciless review. So, I played around with it a little bit, and this thing actually feels really good. I don't know what about this, probably the stability, and it's sticky, it slays on your target. I really like it, I really do. But in my opinion, in PvE, if you're going to run a fusion rifle, a Loaded Question is probably going to be the way to go. However, for PvP, I had a lot of fun with this thing. It was just super stable. I didn't really have to worry about how far away my target was because it's got some fairly decent range. But the stability on it, you don't have to worry about sitting it at their feet and going up. You can put this like at knee level and you're still going to get most of the bolts to go into them. Now, as far as an in-depth review, I think this is a 5 bolt to kill fusion rifle. I don't believe it's a 4, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But even still, if you miss that first shot regardless, your next shot's going to be faster than it was previously. Now, it takes a little bit of a while. It doesn't go to its max fire rate, like right out of the gate, as soon as you miss your first shot or anything like that. But it's a super good weapon to pair with things like the Duke. Can't pair it with Ace of Spades because it's an exotic, but things like that, the Warden's Law and all that kind of good stuff, you can definitely get those longer range shots off with your 110 round per minute hand cannon or 150 round per minute scout rifle if that's what you prefer, and clean them up with the Merciless as they drop down to you. Now, as far as fusion rifles go, you really have to get used to charge times. It's difficult for some people to get the concept that you don't need to sprint in, then charge your weapon, and then fire away. That's just not the way you need to do it. Backpedaling is your friend. It's like using an SMG in this meta right now. You have to constantly be pulling back and waiting for them to rush you so you can be landing shots on them as they're trying to run at you with their shotgun, because that's the thing that's going to happen to you the most. And that works the same way for PvE. Don't run into a group of enemies with this thing expecting to just BROW like you would the Kilo shotgun. That's just not the way you should do this. You're going to have to wait, think about it a little bit more, and finesse your way in with the bolts whenever they're charged, because 900 milliseconds is a long time. Another thing that I found was fairly decent on this weapon was its in-air accuracy, and that's not something you can say about a whole lot of guns in Destiny. Usually you're punished pretty hard for being in the air whenever you're firing. Even if you are dead square on somebody's noggin with a gun, that thing will just ghost and go into oblivion. That bullet will never be found again. It's just disappearing. But with this thing, I didn't mind dropping down on things like the map that I'm playing on right now that escapes my name. Dropping down from that center platform with the shields onto B, I didn't really feel that I was hindered too much from shooting from the air, which is kind of strange, because I've always put Icarus grips on my fusion rifles ever since, well, Destiny 2, basically. And I just really enjoy the fact that I'm not punished for being in the air. Another thing I'm going to recommend that you do with this weapon in order to get pretty good with it is that you learn to sweep your fusion bolts. Now, what I mean by that is since it has such a large charge time, you're not going to want to take every single charge and use it for one single person. Now, sweeping looks something like aiming at a target, firing your bolts, and then quickly spinning your camera so you can see another person. Works in PvE and in PvP. You see a line of thrall, you'll probably be able to take them out with one shot of a Merciless or a loaded question if you don't have the extra bullet procced, and you can just sweep around them and take them out. Works the same way for PvP. If you see a guy, he's jumped over, and you see a guy slightly underneath him, you can shoot up and then drag it downward, and you should be able to get the double kill off. This happens all the time. Now, as far as viability for this weapon goes in the Crucible, I don't know if it's quite worth using it, but it's super fun. I recommend giving it a shot if you haven't already. As far as the exotic slot goes, I feel like it can't compete with Telesto in any way, shape, or form. Just because Telesto is, well, broken right now. And, well, if you want to be that kind of person, use a Telesto, but I'm not going to do that. I love fusion rifles, but I don't love them that much. But as far as your exotic slot goes, in my opinion, an optimal build for using a fusion rifle is probably going to be something like Ace of Spades or Vigilance Wing I'm having a lot of fun with right now. Something like that, and then running a legendary fusion rifle, something like the Ear Until or the Loaded Question. In my opinion, the Loaded Question's kind of the way to go. Another thing that you should be doing on these fusion rifles is using your scavenger perks wisely. Now, you can have 2 scavenger perks that I'm aware of on your character at any given time. So that means when you pick up that special brick, you then get 3 bullets of scavenger. And this kind of mitigates it in PvE as well. You don't have to worry quite as much about your special ammo finders, because if you're finding 1, it's really like you're finding 2 or 3. So that really helps in things where you're using the Loaded Question or the Merciless here for boss DPS, because you don't have to worry quite as much about your ammo. So the god roll on stuff would be if you got special ammo finder and scavenger perks for these things, but that doesn't always happen, and you know how RNG goes with games like this. So, in terms of viability, I think the Loaded Question and the Ear Until are probably going to be a little bit more favorable here, but I do plan on doing a little bit of a tier list with these things to see where I think everything lies. Gonna do it for shotguns, gonna do it for fusion rifles, probably snipers after I get myself actually coordinated with snipers in this game. I felt okay with snipers in D1, but something about this meta just kind of throws me off. The flinch and all that stuff, so I'll do a tier list for stuff like that. If you want me to do a in-depth breakdown about all the weapons, just leave me a comment underneath this video. I'll do one on pulses and SMGs and hand cannons and all that stuff. I am partial to certain weapons, but I'll try to keep it as little biased as possible as I can in these videos. So, with that, guys, that's pretty much all I have for you about this. If this is giving you something really cool to use in the Crucible, hit that like button. If you have a question about the Merciless, or if you have a wacky loadout that you want me to try, leave me a comment underneath this video. Subscribe to my channel for any more Destiny content. And with that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.